I'm starting to really get worried about Overwatch 2's massive PvE expansion. We haven't heard anything about it for a while, and I think I know why. I'll get to that later. And the brand new Starwatch game mode was marketed as a hybrid PvP and PvE experience, but in actuality is just so far from that. That's not how Blizzard marketed it. In their own blog post, they say, Starwatch Galactic Rescue is Overwatch 2's first ever PvP PvE hybrid. What they didn't call it, remember that game mode that was so bad that we took it out of Overwatch 2? Well, it's back in now. Now, one of your feeding teammates is an AI. Literally. Which shouldn't feel much different than normal. But to spice things up, we've put turrets in your way to slow down the gameplay. Starwatch is really, really bad. And I'm shocked that anyone will defend this as an acceptable addition to the game. The abusive relationship that Overwatch puts us in has gaslit people into believing that it's okay to accept a basically nothing product. And if the quality of the free things we're going to get here are simply just promotional materials so that you get to wear a skin in a different mode, incentivizing you to buy it, I'm starting to feel like I preferred the content drought to this. There's so many other awesome gaming experiences out there that I'm confused what Blizzard's strategy is if Starwatch is the type of thing they're putting through. And I'm beginning to really get worried that they're not going to build the proper momentum that is going to be required for the game to succeed with PvE coming out or news of it coming out, because we're supposed to hear more about it later this year. I feel like the Starwatch game mode was an opportunity for them to just sprinkle in a little bit of the types of things that they supposedly were working on for the PvE. Any kind of interesting mechanic here would have gone miles to interest me. But that's not what they did. Instead, this is a game mode that is based and balanced and designed on the skins that were created first to try to justify the skins to have a showcase. I say that because the team comp interactions of the pre-selected heroes are basically nonsensical. Doesn't really seem to have thought through the gameplay. I actually even preferred the Battle for Olympus, which felt more like just a wacky free-for-all mode with cool new abilities. At least that had some variety to it. That felt like an interesting workshop mod. The Starwatch game mode feels worse than a workshop mod. Gameplay so lacking that I'm confused why they don't even just go to the workshop creators and utilize them to make a wacky, interesting new game mode for one of these types of things instead of what we have. Because, all right, I've done a lot of general complaining. I'll talk a little bit about the Starwatch mode in specific now. The meta of the game is for the attacking team to get shooter angles, focus down the turrets first, then engage in like a 2CP-esque way, once in a while utilizing the meat shield of an extra player that you have with Doomfist with easy mode AI. I felt like I have some fun with the mode because I did like Assault as a game mode, and I thought it was particularly fine in quick play in Overwatch 1. As you guys know, I play a big percentage of time in quick play. I don't just play ranked. I do when I want to try hard or work on my own skills, etc. But I try to experience the game casually too to get that perspective and benefit from the matchmaking of playing with a lot of different skill rating players. Teaches me about how the community plays the game. And well, what I was reintroduced to is just how bad players actually are at the Assault game mode. I guess this is good riddance to that. Even if I like it, the player base was never suited to play this mode. And anyone that says push is a downgrade from the regroupathon that Assault is supposed to be, I think is really forgetting the player base's aptitude to play the mode, and that ruining the experience for anyone that even likes it means we should just not have it overall. Personally, I wish they just made it 4 capture points with no AI, because when they marketed it as some PvE experiences, I expected the benchmark to maybe be like the Uprising event from 2017, many years ago, which was very simple, but had a boss character here or there, a couple activatables, some things to do, whereas quite literally Starwatch has a brain dead AI teammate and meat shield turrets in the way. That's the level of PvE we're talking about. And if that indeed is all they ever wanted to do with it, which seems a little silly considering how many workshop mods are out there that kind of simulate a more advanced PvE experience, boss battlers and things like that, then I wish they didn't market it as a PvE. Remember, they never used these words before they talked about Overwatch 2. I went back into the old blog posts for Omnic Uprising and wondered, did they market this as a co-op PvE experience? No, not really. It was like a co-op mission. They're using the term PvE because that's how they use to talk about everything else. So I feel like they're conflating those and diluting the potential of what that should mean to us. And some of the mechanics in this mode are so bad, I'm just like curious why they kept them in. Reviving a downed ally just makes the gameplay worse. Because in similar to like wolf packing in Team Deathmatch with revive mechanics, you sort of just hide on cover, hold each other's hands, and no deaths matter if you position well. Now, you, as an intelligent player playing some of the characters that I play, Torbjorn was funnily amazing in this. You might think he's terrible, but considering there's turrets to fight and holding a corner and some cover means your team never dies. You play Torb, you play Bat, just hold your angle and don't get flushed out, which why would you? Why would the defense feed into you? Your team can always kind of run back to you to get revived from safety. So if you understand that being the meta, and then also similar to how we used to play Assault for years in Overwatch, when there's overextensions or things out of position, that's when you press your ultimates and you use that to gain an advantage, to gain more space. Oh yeah, and why do we have dive tanks on the attack? Into turrets. Don't dive until the turrets are gone. The turrets aren't even a challenge anyway. They are simply just a meat shield to slow down the attacker's progress. So you want to play it like tactically almost, go from cover to cover, poking down the turrets, getting them out of the way, then making the actual team fight. But that's so low IQ to me, and not how people like to play Overwatch anyway. I had so many teammates that want to just play the Overwatch game of our team comp runs into your team comp, and that's not what this mode is asking you to do. It requires you to make crossfires because that's what a lot of the characters involved are. Once you learn that, the mode kind of opens up and it becomes playable. But before you know that, and your team just is kind of diving in with the prescribed dive characters, or at least the dive tanks that they're given as required to play, the gameplay feels funky. And then the only adjustments they made is to reduce the health of those tanks, meaning they have to play even safer. Now, the reason why I'm being so picky about this is because we are told that the actual PvE, again, their term, they are the ones that tell us that the PvE that's coming are going to have hero missions where specific heroes are involved for the given task. And what I would like to see is that the gameplay of those will be interesting based on the heroes that are available, which not only is how it should be, but I think they've already set that precedent, as in the Junkenstein mode, which is, I think, overall better than this. The characters that are involved and selected have gameplay reasons, it feels, for them to make sense. And then there's alternate modes where you can pick anything. But if you're going to have a pre-selected roster, you at least think you would sculpt the mode to make it more playable and fun, as opposed to kind of just obnoxious and grindy, which is what Starwatch plays like. Now, maybe I'm just being a bitter old man. I did put out a Twitter poll to see what you guys think about the game mode. Overwatch fans don't seem to be as sour on the mode as I am, with only a third of respondents saying it was bad or disappointing, half saying it's good enough, which I guess is just the Overwatch fan battle cry at this point, that we're just so happy to get any content ever that that's going to be satisfactory to us. And under a fifth of responders said that it was actually good. Reading a few of the replies to the tweet, Jokic says would be better if the skins were designed after the game mode and not the other way around. I agree completely. While that kind of worked for the free-for-all mode that wasn't to be taken seriously in Battle for Olympus, because the premise was it wasn't going to be balanced, I think we know Assault is a game mode that never played well with unbalanced team comps, so to make the game intentionally unbalanced based on what heroes are available seems kind of silly to me. Jorge on Twitter says, being the attackers is rough, not gonna lie. Also, the hype is kind of dulled once you realize that it's just Lunar Colony with different lighting and turrets. Yeah, I tend to agree. It's funny, like most people hate attacking, but I feel like I played enough of the mode where I actually prefer attacking, but I'm the type of maniac who does unironically pick attack Torb in my ranked games. So I already know how to play that. And in fact, he's useful because he's pretty good at poking down the turrets, which slow down the attacker's advance. Saint Knack says a more positive response. I generally enjoy playing it no matter which side I'm on. However, after completing the event challenges, it kind of loses its allure and replayability. The voice acting, new skins, and new Horizon map decor are all great, but it left me a bit unsatisfied dissatisfied, wishing there was more. Okay, now I'll get off the old man complain train and agree and say some positives I think about the mode. Torb's voice acting sounds a little too goofy for my tastes, but the rest of them, kind of an alternate take on a given Overwatch character where they can have like a tinge of a new personality. It's like the Overwatch character is cosplaying a Star Wars equivalent character, which that's kind of cool. Like a lot of the characters got to say cool things and have a bit of a different attitude. I think it makes a lot of sense that Brigitte is on the evil side based on the in-community lore around her. The setting and world building of this mode really got me in, because that's maybe why I wanted more from it, because I liked it so much. I was like, oh, this is such an opportunity to do something cool, but everything is cool about it except playing the mode for more than like, I don't know, a couple games. Other positive things is I was surprised how much I enjoyed just playing Overwatch in a non-competitive setting. I'm not somebody who plays a lot of arcade in general, so having a new thing to figure out was amazing to me. Like all the chemicals in my brain were trying to figure out, it's like, okay, my team is insta-dying on attack. We have no coordination. There's turrets here. There's new map angles that get played. You'll kind of get smacked in the face immediately. You're realizing that the first capture point is right out of your spawn, so it's best to slow down in your spawn and clear out a path first before you even leave. Figuring out things like that, I was really excited. I'm like, oh, this is a new problem for me to solve. A new meta, a new game style. But then realizing the tricks and how to leverage which team comp characters are going to be best at interacting. For example, although Brig solo healer could work, potentially, especially since you're against two dive tanks on the attacker side, there's a massive advantage to having Mercy on the defense as opposed to Brig. Because Brig can be overwhelmed as a single healer and Mercy can just run away. Not to mention you have poke defenders, so damage amping them is a massive advantage. All this meta theory crafting could have been so much cooler. And think how much cooler still it could have been if there was just like an Omnic Uprising event level of complexity with like some level of advanced PvE beyond just like map terrain annoyances, which is what I feel about the little Graviton Surge packs and the turrets. We're supposed to be expecting mechanics like Left 4 Dead. And my question is, when do we actually get to expect it? Well, I'll answer the question that I posed at the start of the video. The truth is, I believe that Diablo 4 is on its main marketing push, and Blizzard tends to try to stagger the marketing attention of any one of their given games. So they try to offset at least by a couple weeks for big announcements, new seasons, expansions, etc. And with Diablo 4's Server Slam weekend this Friday and Saturday, and the launch of that game just a month away, I think it makes sense that they're going to really keep quiet, kind of as long as they can, to make sure that the first big PvE drop from Overwatch 2 comes after everyone gets their money in to pay for Diablo 4 and the Battle Pass. Otherwise, they can tend to cannibalize their own sales, with at least a significant minority percentage of crossover players for the different Blizzard games. So I will use that as a good benchmark to not be too panicked into thinking there might be some big PvE delay. They did, after all, say it was coming this year. And while I had hoped to have more progress on it already, seeing as we're almost halfway through the year, in quarter 3 or 4 to get something cool, I will still be happy. I just wish they started to weave in those cool ideas into the game. And maybe, because I know Blizzard does listen to feedback, the next run of these types of free events might include more crossover appeal into those systems, mechanics, and stories from the PvE release as that starts to roll out. My worry is that there's sort of like a have and have nots with this PvE content, and the free players get Starwatch on the PvP side of the free-to-play game, and like the real experiences are behind a paywall, and I just don't see why they can't intermingle some of them. And I don't think it's useful for us as consumers to accept these rink-a-dink skin-based modes to be like below passing. Like, if I could give it a B, I wouldn't even make this video in the way that I have. But I feel like it's a C-. Like, glaring holes in this that could have been fixed with just a bit of work, a bit of TLC, a bit of creativity, a bit of generosity to take some of their great ideas that I'm sure they have for the PvE to put it into this, to give us a taste of what that's going to be. No, we don't get any of that. Instead, we get Assault with more Torb turrets on it. Thanks, Blizzard. I hate it. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you worried about Overwatch 2's PvE? Was Starwatch a huge blast for you and you think I'm overreacting? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos come out. With a new season, there's a new replay wipe, so I need you guys to send in replay codes of you losing in either ranked or quick play, where you thought you played well, but lost anyway. Always, you can send in any hero, but I think especially I want to look at some Junker Queen. So if you got codes for her, send in your replay codes into the Google form linked in the description. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.